suspending or expelling a country from the UN under the normal provisions of the Charter requires agreement of the Security Council. And we know the US and the UK will never, ever agree, and they will veto any such effort. So the way they got around this in the South Africa case during apartheid was the US, the UK, and France vetoed the effort to suspend South Africa. They vetoed it in the Security Council. The president of the GA and the majority of the GA then went forward and they said, okay, we don't have the power to do that, but we can suspend their participation in the General Assembly, which is basically the parliament of the body. And the way they did that was when the Credentials Committee was approving participation for each country at the beginning of the session of the General Assembly, they denied that approval to South Africa. They can do the same thing to Israel. Now that process has already taken place for the current General Assembly. So President Yang, he's not going to be the president of the GA when this happens. It's going to happen in the beginning of the next session. It's going to happen in the fall, in next fall, if it is going to happen. That's when it would happen. And the head of the Credentials Committee will also change. Currently, that's Solomon Islands, and some of these Pacific islands have also been co-opted by Israel. But that's going to change. That's going to change as well. And then, most importantly, as I said, you already have the majority. We just had a resolution, I think yesterday or the day before, in this Arab Islamic summit, where they all called for suspending Israel's participation. A lot of G77 members are going to support that. I think that they will have a numerical majority. And I think what is most compelling here is that what they cannot deny is that there has never been a country in the history of the UN that's been more deserving of, as a minimum, of suspension from the General Assembly. Israel has been consistently violating the principles of the Charter since 1948. It's done so since it was admitted, first in carving out the state through genocide and ethnic cleansing, violating the Universal Declaration, the UN Charter, the Genocide Convention. And then even those early resolutions, 181 and 194 that they talk so much about, those are supposed to allow Palestinian right of return. Wasn't allowed, right? Those were supposed to recognize Palestinian sovereignty. That hasn't been allowed by Israel. And today, Israel has the world record for the violation of UN conventions, UN resolutions of the Security Council, General Assembly, the Commission on Human Rights, Human Rights Council, the defiance of applicable ICJ rulings, and the defiance of Security Council resolutions, which is a violation of Article 25 of the UN Charter. It's on trial for genocide. There are arrest warrants for crimes against humanity, against its leaders. It's been found to be perpetrating apartheid. The occupation is illegal. All of that, not to mention transnational terror attacks, foreign assassinations, aggression against half a dozen, or at least 4 or 5 UN member states that are suffering under Israeli aggression. And then here's the thing that they cannot deny in the GA discussions. It has been attacking the United Nations itself. This is unprecedented. It blocks UN investigations. It bans UN personnel. It PNG'd the Secretary General of the UN. It has repeatedly attacked and obstructed UNRWA. It has killed more UN staff than any party in history, more than 230 UN staff in the last year alone, many along with their families. It has detained and tortured countless UN staff. It has attacked and slandered and obstructed the organization and its operations. And as you said, Ali, it has attacked UN peacekeepers in Lebanon, and repeatedly. So it has invaded and pillaged and bombed UN premises, schools, clinics, warehouses, and so on. So there has never been a case in the history of the United Nations where it has been more justified to suspend an actor. They will have a hard time in ignoring this when the discussion comes up.